How to think in English. There are 4 important stages for thinking in English language. Let's begin with them. Stage number 1. Well, stage number 1 is to think in verbs. To think in verbs, not words, not just a random word. No, to think in verbs. That's very important, to be thinking in verbs, because if we want to describe something, what is happening around us, it's all actions. A verb is an action word. Now, action is something that is meaningful. If you are just telling a meaningful word to somebody, a person would be able to understand something out of it. So, this is very important for you. If you look around yourself, it's all verb actions, right? Actions. That means actions are meaningful, so you have to think in verbs. You can do this anytime, anywhere. If you're sitting in a metro, you can do it. If you are at a traffic light, for example, and you have a minute or 2 with yourself, you can just look around and practice at that time. If you're going by your own car, if you are in a park, at that time you can just sit, relax, and do this particular activity. You can observe your surroundings anytime, anywhere. So whenever you're taking up this thinking in verbs, you can do it. You can sit on the terrace of your house. You can do it anywhere where some action is going on. The thing is that this is not something that you might be able to do while sitting inside your home. If you're doing it at home, then you need some kind of picture to aid your thinking. Because how are you going to think in action when there is a picture in front of your eyes? When there is a particular picture or a particular scene, that means it's a situation. Something is going on in that particular picture because a picture captures a moment and it speaks volumes. So you have to do that. You have to just take that picture up. Any picture. If you want to do it alone, if you want to do it at your home, you can do this particular thing. Take up a picture, look closely, and try to identify the actions, the verbs. And if you are doing this somewhere where you're in an open surrounding, a park, any public place, public transport, anywhere, then you have very well a lot of verbs that you can come up with. A lot of verbs. If you observe anything around you, you might come across some verbs like walk, talk, eat. A person might be eating something. Walk, talk, eat, discuss, gossip. Gossiping. To gossip is actually a verb. Converse. Converse is a verb, an advanced verb. Play. Children might be playing. Play. To sell, buy. A person might be selling something, another person might be buying something from that person. So you have to think in verbs, as many verbs as possible. Carry. To carry is a verb, to carry something. A person might be carrying something from somewhere to somewhere. That means carry. Check. To check. Some person might be checking out something. Talk. Text. To text somebody. Texting. Text. Talk. Read. A person might be reading. Sing. Listen. There are so many things going on around, so much that you can describe using just verbs. So, you have to think in verbs. Think about all the actions that are going on around. If someone is waving a goodbye to somebody, you can say wave. To wave. To wave is a verb. Waving. If a person is running, run. Up. Children might hop, right? Somewhere, they just start hopping here and there. So hop. To walk, to run, to play, to discuss. There are so many verbs you can use, so you have to think in verbs. Action words, the verbs. That's very important, and this is stage number 1. Now, stage number 2. Stage number 2 is to think in nouns. That means naming words, words that name something. You have to think in nouns because if you look at it, when you're forming any sentence, you are actually talking about something in that particular sentence. You always have a subject, that means a noun, a naming word. So nouns are very important, and if you can just point out nouns all around you in English, that means half of your work is already done. Because you have already thought in verbs, the actions which are going on around, that means the next steps, which we are going to come to stage number 3 and 4, are going to be really easy for you. Really easy. Now, in stage number 2, you have to think in nouns. Look closely around yourself. What all nouns can you actually point out? For example, right now in my surroundings, the nouns that I can see are journal, table, laptop, or I can say MacBook. Laptop is going to be a common noun. MacBook is going to be its proper noun because this particular laptop is a MacBook, right? So, MacBook. Okay. I can say camera. I can say microphone. I'm having a microphone here. Microphone. Ring. Books. Bookshelf. Flowers. Flower pot. As many nouns as you can, you have to name all the objects. All the objects. Light. There are lights behind me. Light. So, I can name as many objects as I want. Chair. I'm sitting on a chair, so chair. As many objects as you can name, you have to name them. Wristwatch. So, as soon as I'm coming up with a new noun, because now the process has begun in my mind, I'm just adding it. I keep on adding things to the particular list, and that is how you are going to do it too. Add things to that list. Think in nouns. Think about everything that is there around you. Okay, so you can say a girl, a boy, 2 girls. You can say children. Think about that too. Think about it. That's okay, that's very common, right? But think about them. When you include them in the picture, only then you'll be able to form sentences on it. So you have to include everything in the picture that is around you, everything. Now, this is something that you can also do at home, naming nouns around yourself. Like right now, I just named so many nouns around myself, and you do not even need a picture for this. So this is something that you can do anytime, anywhere, even at your home, at a public place, in your office, in your college. You can sit and practice for 5 minutes straight, thinking about it. Think in your mind. Think about it in your mind. And if you're sitting alone, there's nobody around you, you can speak them out loud too. That will help you solidify the thoughts that you're having. So it's going to help you a lot. Think in nouns because there are so many objects around you and everything has a name to it. Now, stage number 3. Stage number 3 is to think in sentences. Think in sentences. You have to think in sentences. You can think about what sentences you would form with everything that is going on around you, the nouns, the verbs. Now is the time to connect them, and you can form individual sentences. You don't have to form paragraphs after paragraphs, no. Individual sentences. Short sentences, a bit longer sentences too. So you have to form individual sentences. For example, what I can say is, there's a pink journal kept beside a pen, right? The book is kept on top of a table. The table is white in color. There is a laptop on the table. So I'm forming small sentences. I'm not forming any kind of complex sentences here, as you can see. No complex sentences, nothing. Short sentences. That is like whatever is there around you. You have to form short sentences. You name the words, the nouns. Now form sentences using them. For example, there is a bookshelf behind me. There are so many books in the bookshelf. There is a beautiful flower pot kept behind me. So the kind of nouns that I've used, I am using them in all the sentences, almost all the sentences, right? This is how you're going to form the sentences. Short. Nothing more, nothing big, nothing complex. No. Short sentences so that you can use everything. You can, now weave your thoughts together. First, you have taken up the verbs. You have taken up the nouns. Now you're trying to weave them together. You're weaving them. Now they are weaved into a thread. Next stage. Stage number 4 is the final stage, and that is something that's very important. Let's move to that now. Stage number 4 is to think in paragraphs, or maybe to describe everything in a single attempt. To think in a paragraph is to describe everything around you in a single attempt. No short sentences, no individual sentences. You have to form kind of a paragraph. Okay, you are not talking about individual things and forming different sentences. You're taking everything up all together as if you are describing your surroundings, as if you were telling a story. If you're looking at a picture, you can tell that. You can tell a story. You have to do that now. What you have done is you have taken up nouns, verbs, weaved them into sentences. Your sentences are your threads. And now is the time to form the complete net through those threads. Now these threads are going to be weaved into a complete net. Complete net. You can say net, you can say cloth. Basically, we are going to complete the picture of this thinking process, the final step, the final product, and that is to think completely in English. That is our final product. And that is what we are doing. So, to think in paragraphs, that is very important. Extremely important. But because you have done everything that I've already told you, the 3 steps, you will find it possible to think in paragraphs. It'll be easier for you if you're following all the 3 steps. It will be easy for you to think in paragraphs too, because now you've trained your brain. Your brain has consumed a lot of information. Your brain has a lot of stuff with it. If you would have not followed the first stage, second stage, third stage, and directly you are to describe your surroundings in one go in English, that would be a bit difficult because you might run out of sentences, run out of thoughts, of words, what to say, now what to describe. But because you have analyzed everything, your brain has a lot of English stuff, a lot of stuff to describe in English right now, related to your surroundings. This means it increases your English speaking capacity. You'll be able to speak more about your surroundings. You'll be able to speak for a longer time. You'll be able to speak fluently too. So, let's do a demo. Okay, let's do a demo on this too. So if you have to form a paragraph, what I can say is that there is a book kept beside a pen, and they are lying on top of a table. I'm working on a MacBook, and I'm doing my work quite seriously. There is a camera in front of me which is helping me shoot this particular video, and I'm sitting in front of a bookshelf. There are so many books in the bookshelf, out of which most of them are my favorite novels, my favorite books. I love to read them a lot. There are so many lights surrounding me which help create a perfect working environment for me. So this is how you can describe your surroundings, what is going on, weave everything into a paragraph. And that is the final step, final stage, to think in English so that you can speak English absolutely fluently. So that this thinking process can become easy for you, you need to practice it. This will not come to you suddenly or just like that. You practice it, and you will see improvement. So if you practice, you'll see improvement, you'll see progress. And that is what we want to achieve, to be able to do it naturally. So in order to do it naturally, first you have to make efforts. Take up everything that I've told you today. Take up this technique, all the 4 stages, and you'll see a huge difference. These 4 stages will make you think in English. Now I'm going to meet you again in a new lesson. Till then, everybody, take care and bye.